Come in close, folks. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Welcome to Her Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress, the Tower of London, a World Heritage Site. My name is Yeoman Warden John Donald, and I am one of the 37 Yeoman Warders, or as you probably best know us as, Beefeaters. Not only have the privilege to work behind these walls, but we live there as well. So on behalf of my friends, families and colleagues, welcome to our humble little home here in Old London Town. Now the plan is we're going to try and conduct approximately a 1-hour guided tour where together we'll go through the fortress and I'll point out some of the more famous buildings to you. And along the way, I'm going to tell a few stories as well. Some of these stories are going to involve some very famous prisoners. Okay. Only about 50% there are trying. Treason. That's better. One for the ladies now. Adultery. Who needs 50 Shades of Grey, eh? Incest. Actually, somebody yesterday cheered at that point. I have no idea what that's all about. Cute and cuddly animals. And my personal favourite, torture and execution. Yeah, I've got your mark now, haven't I? Eh? Now just be aware, because when we get to those parts of the story, they can be a bit gruesome. I don't want any of you fainting or collapsing on me. It just creates far too much paperwork for me to fill out afterwards. So you have been warned. I think it's also fair to point out you're very lucky this morning, because I'm one of the few Yeoman Warders here at the Tower that can actually speak more than one language. I speak Canadian. American. And Australian as well. Welcome home. So as you can tell, the tour is in English. Therefore, if you don't understand a single word I'm talking about right now, you're going to have the most miserable hour of your life. You must just go through there and do your own thing. Now, whilst I mention England, have we got anyone here from Great Britain? Give me a cheer. Yeah, there we are, very reserved as usual. I'm glad you guys are here as well, because I'm going to test your English history. So don't let yourself down in front of the rest of the audience, it's far too embarrassing. But for the rest of you, you need to be aware, because at the end of my tour, there's going to be a test. If you get it wrong, we're coming straight back here and starting all again. So pay attention. Sir, I understand what you're doing there, but it's really putting me off. Right, here we go. Our story begins way back in the year 1066, when William, Duke of Normandy, better known as William the Conqueror, defeated the Anglo-Saxon King Harold at the Battle of
Hastings.
Okay, not bad for this group in front of me here. Room for improvement over the back over there. Now William was crowned King William I on Christmas Day of that same year, but he was to spend the next 12 years fighting his newly conquered subjects, as he didn't take too kindly to Norman domination. William was looking for somewhere to impress and overawe the people who lived here in London. And eventually they chose a site just inside the eastern edge of the city wall, where once an old Roman fort had stood. It was here in the year 1078 he authorised the building of his first royal palace and fortress here in England. Today we refer to that building as the White Tower, and it's located behind these walls. I don't know where you're looking. This is going to be a long hour, I can tell. But I did lead you into that, didn't I? However, we'll see that building much later on in the tour. However, for the next 200 years, successive monarchs continued to add to the defence of the tower. The inner defensive wall was built on the orders of King Henry III in the year 1220 and contains 13 smaller towers. The outer wall was built on the orders of his son, Edward I, in 1280, and contained 6 further towers, all built on the southern side of the fortress, in order to defend the tower from any attack that may come up from the River Thames. The third defensive line to the tower was the moat, or ditch, and it was once filled with water, and that's exactly where we stood right now. As a defensive line, it's some 120 feet wide, and when fully excavated, it's 15 feet deeper than we see it today. It was designed to use the tidal flow of the River Thames. Twice a day, the river would flow into and around the moat, and thereby keeping it clean. Or so we thought. It also became the largest public toilet in all of London. I'll just let you hang on that for a moment. Now, of course, being English, we reacted upon very quickly. We called in engineers, scientists and all sorts of experts to see what we could do to solve this very embarrassing and very smelly problem. And eventually they came up with a simple solution. Some 500 years later.
500.
Empty it. Some things don't change in this country, I can tell you. Now, the man who was in charge of the tower at that time was probably the most famous general in the British Army, the Duke of Wellington, who successfully defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. Whilst he was here, he then ordered to have his area filled with sand and shingle up to the height that we see today, and put it to good use as an exercise area and a parade ground for all his soldiers who were based here at the tower at that time. Now, as I've already mentioned, this was the first royal palace of its kind to be built in this country. Over the years, the tower's been employed for many other uses. Firstly, the crown jewels and royal regalia have been safely secured behind these walls since the year 1303. It was the home to the Royal Mint, producing all the coins around until around about the year 1810. It was also the location of the very first Royal Observatory, designed to be set up in order to study the stars and the planets, until that was subsequently moved down the river to Greenwich in the 17th century. Believe it or not, it was also the Royal Zoo, and we had many wild and exotic animals here. We had lions, tigers, monkeys, elephants. We even had a polar bear. We loved that bear. We used to let him go swimming every single day in the moat. He didn't live very long. Still trying to work out why. And last but no means least, this must rank as one of the most famous prison complexes anywhere in the world. So now we're on the subject of prisoners. If you look in that direction there, you'll see a prominent large white building with the Union flag flying from the right-hand side. Now, as such, that building has absolutely nothing to do with the tower whatsoever. I thought I'd just point it out to you. Built for the Port of London authorities, still control all shipping on the River Thames to this very day. But it also serves as a useful landmark. So let me tell you about an open area which is located below and to the right of it. That has a lot to do with the tower. It's called Trinity Gardens, and it stands on Tower Hill. And that was the site of many public executions between the 14th and 18th century. So how did it work then on day of execution? Well, it was very simple. The Yeoman Wardens would lead the prisoner from the tower and take it up to the front gates behind you over there, where he'd then be handed over to the sheriffs of London, who were then responsible for getting that man up onto the hill. The prisoner would then climb the steps onto the top of that large wooden scaffold site, where he literally greeted by thousands of people who turned up to witness the proceedings. The condemned man would be allowed to deliver his final speech, and then would no doubt say his prayers. He would then kneel down and place his neck on a block of oak. And with a word or a signal, the executioner would bring his axe, crashing down onto his victim's neck, and hopefully behead them with one stroke. The executioner would pick up that severed and still bleeding head and turn it to the assembled crowd with claim, "Behold the head of a traitor. So die all traitors, God save the king. And at that point, the crowd would cheer. Right. It's very simple, this. For the next hour, I'm doing 99.9% of the work. On the very few occasions, I'm going to hand it over to you. And it'd be great to get the same enthusiasm back this way. Now, I'm not after an Oscar or a BAFTA award, but it'd be great to know that you're enjoying your time with me. That was one of those moments. And as a group, you failed miserably. Now, lucky for you, I'm a fair man. And I do believe giving everyone at least one chance. So we'll give it another go. And if it's not up to the required standard, I'm out of here. We'll go back to my home and start re-watching the Game of Thrones. You're cool. Did you jump there? Was you paying attention, sir? Sure. Tough question now coming up for you. Don't let yourself down. Which hand was it in? Good man, well done. Behold the head of a traitor! Hang on, hang on! Wait for the punchline! You've only got an hour to do this.
You're crazy.
Behold the head of a traitor, so die all traitors. God save the king! Yay! Are you enjoying this?
No, that's still crazy.
Buy a ticket then! The head was then placed onto a soldier's pike and carried through the streets of London towards London's Bridge. Now you'll notice I'm pointing in that direction and not towards the bridge that's round that way, which we all know is called Tower Bridge. London's Bridge was the only bridge across the River Thames in those days. That head would then be part boiled, covered in tar and displayed on that bridge as a sign of faith that awaits all would-be traitors. Meanwhile, the headless corpse would be taken down, placed into a small handcart and brought quickly back into the tower where it would be buried inside the Royal Chapel. Have you enjoyed it so far?
Yes.
Are we going to continue?
Yes.
Magic. Well, the way it's going to work now is I'm going to bulldoze my way through the crowd, and you lovely people need to stay on my coattails as we move rapidly, which is the military term for quickly, to the next part of the tour. Are we ready?
Yes.